So I welcome you all into this carving session in which we are going to discuss about permanent maxillary canine. The video series has been made by Dr. Rahul, and here we are demarcating the crown and the root surfaces. And you can pause here and have a look at the diagram. You'll get to know how much has to be removed. The black portion has to be removed grossly. Here we are using a larger wax block, so we are using a cutter, but in your case you would have to use a carver for gross removal. So see, we have removed grossly from mesial and distal sides, and right now we are creating the incisal slopes. You must remember the COCs, the mesial and the distal COCs. This will give you an idea about how to create these. The mesial COC is more towards the incisal aspect, that is middle and incisal third junction, whereas the distal COC is at the middle of the middle third. Now what we are doing is marking the labial and the lingual aspect. So the labial COC, crest of curvature, would be at the junction of the middle and the cervical third. And lingual, you obviously knew you would have to create a lingual fossa. So post doing that, we are rounding off the sharp edges so that to give it a more natural appeal. See, a buccal ridge has to be created. What do I mean by that is that there should be a slight elevation, a linear elevation that must be felt on the buccal surface. This elevation must be in straight line with the tip of the cusp. The cusp which we are creating on the incisal aspect, its tip should be in line with the buccal ridge, as you can see the elevation here. Also, you must need to round off that elevation so that it's not too much. Too much of linear elevation or the buccal ridge would also feel a slight unnatural. We need to make the tooth as natural as possible. Now coming on to the occlusal aspect, you can see that there is a kind of lingual tapering here. So by that what I mean is that the median and the distal sides are kind of converging lingually. So that is what we have done on this step. We have grossly removed it. We have grossly tilted the tooth or tapered the tooth towards the lingual aspect, and now we are creating a lingual fossa. Again here we are rounding off the gross tapering that we have done. We are rounding it off so as to give a more natural appeal to the tooth. Now what we need to do is form the lingual fossa very accurately. So as you know from your Wheeler's textbook the fossa has a kind of W shape. So we are creating that W shape. Notice how we are creating that. In the middle we are leaving some excess wax, and adjacent to this we are creating the fossa. As you can see very clearly how the demarcation has been made. You just need to copy these in your carvings. As you can see from each and every aspect how we have rounded off these sharp angles. Now what we need to do is we need to adjust the width of the crown as per the dimensions that have been mentioned, and then restore the COCs at the very same time. You can notice that the right side here is the distal side and the left side of the tooth is the mesial side here. Now for the formation of root, we need to remove excess of the wax, so that to first give the wax block a pillar shaped appearance, and post that we can give the apical tapering or apical convergence and give the exact natural form. So here we are removing the excess wax as we mentioned in the diagram also. So after removing the excess wax, this is how it should look. And now what you need to do is um, make this excess wax pillar in accordance with the crown slopes. This is how it should look at the moment. Now what we need to do is we need to round off the line angles created. We have to also restore the root ideal root form and converge it apically. At the very same time it should also merge with the tooth contours. So that is what we are doing here right now. Notice how we are creating the concavities here on the mesial and the distal sides just near the crown. This is very important as it helps in demarcating the COCs of the crown, and at the very same time help us to demarcate the crown and the root as well. So while carving like this, you must also remember that we need to give it a finish. The strokes must appear uniform. That helps us in creating a more polished carving. Hope that is being noticed by you while we are grossly uh, giving the form to the root. And that is how our carving looks from each and every aspect till now. Now we are creating the cervical line, and with the help of your Wheeler's dimension table you can get to know how much uh, how much raised the cervical line needs to be made on the distal and the mesial sides. And this cervical line will help us demarcate the crown and the root, that is the anatomical crown and the anatomical root. And we are also removing certain excess wax below the cervical line so as to give a more better demarcation and more natural look to our carving. Post that, let us go for the finishing, and again demarcating the cervical line so that it becomes distinguishable. Now we are creating the developmental groove. So this groove is being made on the mesial side, on the mesial aspect of the root, and that is how we create this groove. Similarly, we'll create a slightly less prominent groove on the distal aspect. You can get to know about which groove is more distinguishable, which is more deeper or accentuated from your textbook of Wheelers. We strongly suggest you to follow standard books for carving. So after finishing and polishing, this is how our tooth appears from each and every aspect. So sir is now decreasing the brightness so that you can very well appreciate the contours.